Express.
Hello, welcome to Leading the Way at Leonards, and I'm your host, Dwayne Knepper. Drivers are the lifeblood of any trucking company. The industry wouldn't exist without them. Is one of the ways trucking companies integrate the voice of the driver into their business plans is by establishing a driver advisory board. And today we'll be talking about how driver advisory boards lead to higher job satisfaction and better performance for professional drivers and for companies overall. Now, riding shotgun with me is Leonard's Express CEO, Ken Johnson. Welcome, Ken.
Thanks, Dwayne. Good to be here.
And also joining us today are two members of Leonard's Express Driver Advisory Board, Lisa Flater and Cal Williard.
Hi, thank you for having us.
Awesome, excellent. Ken, what's the history of the driver advisory boards in the trucking industry? Have DABs been around for a long time? Do a lot of companies have them?
Well, first off, I think it's worth mentioning that in addition to being our host, Dwayne is a former driver for Leonard's and one of the inaugural members of Leonard's Driver Advisory Board. So it's like getting an extra driver advisory board member here today. So thank you for your time with that, Dwayne, before moving into your new role. But driver advisory boards, I think a lot of companies have them in different forms. They may call them different things. I imagine they go back to many companies using them as ways to try to solve the driver shortage problem. Maybe look at ways to improve recruiting or improve retention. Leonard's, we've had ours for probably about 5 years now, maybe 6, 3 of them through the pandemic, where we got really creative with ways we had to have discussions. But I don't think enough companies have them. But I think some of the better companies have them, as a communication tool, to try to find ways to improve their company through the driver's eyes.
Absolutely. Cal and Lisa, tell us about your roles with Leonard Express and how you got involved with the driver advisory board. How about you, Lisa, first?
Well, Leonard's had bought out Holman, and I had been participating and helping out with other drivers here and there, and my DA put me in for it. And I tell you what, it's been a great program. I've never worked for a company that ever had something like this before, and it's something I really wish other companies would do.
How about you, Cal?
A lot the same situation. Through recommendation, the DA and the terminal manager was asked to serve and committed to a 3-year term on it. Like Lisa, I came from the former company, and this has just been a great experience for me. I think it's a wonderful idea.
Absolutely. Lisa, tell us about Leonard's Express Driver Board, if I can get it out of my mouth. How often do you meet? What do you do there?
Well, we take ideas from all the drivers, which it's a process. We've worked really hard to get all the drivers involved in Caldwell, and we were making very good progress with that. We meet it was every quarter. This time we've changed it to 3 times a year now. And it's been, to meet with all the other drivers on this board has been, you learn so much that you can take back to your terminal, and maybe another terminal does different.
Absolutely. Cal, you want to chime in there?
There's not a whole lot to add. Lisa was on before I was. She introduced me to how to get to New York and all the people involved there. But it's been a wonderful time, a great experience. Been on the board for just over a year now, and it's great working with other drivers and getting comments from them and finding out what their needs and concerns are. We just completed a safety meeting this last week, where I was able to talk to several drivers and introduce myself and immediately got a couple of ideas from them. So it's great to hear from other drivers, their concerns and needs, and bring them to the board.
You know what I find interesting is that I know you, Lisa. I think Cal also. You guys have quite the journey to travel to our headquarters. So I'm sure there's a lot to contemplate between the miles there from where you're coming from in Idaho to New York. I'm sure. You know, Ken, we talked about the history of the DAB, but what is the history of the Driver Advisory Board at Leonard's Express specifically? What motivated you and the Leonard's team to start it?
Sure. You know, I believe it was John McGorry who was one of our recruiters. Came to us with the idea, and he originally uh, managed the program for us. Now Dick Trotta runs it, and by running it, make sure the meetings are set up, the meeting space is ready. We the group meets at least once for dinner. Sometimes the night before as well. It's a whole process, and John started that. Now Dick does it. It was just thought that it would be a good way, with us having the 5 different terminals. A couple of them are very similar, in what they do, maybe different in size. Some of them are very diverse from what they do. Delaware, is very heavy East Coast, short haul containers, port work, where Caldwell, for instance, is more middle to long haul. And we thought it'd be a good idea to get a driver group together that had a voice from each one of those locations, and just see what they're hearing, or talk about what they're hearing and what they're seeing, and get the input from other drivers. We were really concerned, that we wanted to right out of the bat make it clear that this is not a complaint window. It's an idea sharing window. It's an opportunity to get together, bounce ideas, about what could make our facilities nicer, what could make our truck specifications nicer. Are we running lanes that we shouldn't be, or dealing with customers that we shouldn't be? And for us, it also was the opportunity as a company. All right, we want to do this, or we want to do that. What do you guys think about this? Is it a good idea? Is it something you're hearing about out on the road from other companies? Just try to bridge the gap between. I talk to drivers, casually when walking around the office, and I know others do as well. But I don't get to walk around every office every week, or even every month for that matter. So how can we get it all together? We sit around a room. We have some formal presentations. There's always the morning is usually formal presentations, and by that, different departments may have new initiatives they want to share, or have the driver advisory board critique. In the afternoon, we always ask the members to bring ideas, things that they've talked to other drivers in their facilities about. And complaints are fair game. If there's a consistent, issue that we need to address, we'll talk about them. It's not that, we don't listen to issues. It's more that, one trip issue, that we try to avoid. We were trying to find, systematic problems, if there is a problem that we need to address. So it's, bigger picture, type conversations. And and I really have to hand it to all the current members and the former members of the board for embracing that concept. They all do a very good job. And they all do a very good job of talking to each other prior to the meeting. So that they share ideas and they share things to bring. And I think that's wonderful. That it's a time commitment. Obviously, it's a paid, we pay our members for their time because we value their time, but it's not the same. Drivers like to drive, so sitting in a room around a table is not something that, a lot of people that choose driving as a career are comfortable doing, so for them to take their time and find value in taking their time, we really appreciate that and the information we get from them.
Absolutely. One of the things I do like our little get-togethers, perhaps over dinner prior to the meetings that we would have on that particular Friday, is that opportunity to meet with one another and see very much how much alike we are, but also how very different we are, and obviously be able to share not just our driving experiences. I know, Lisa, you brought some delicacies to one of the meetings.
Oh, that's right.
Enjoyed it very much. Again, it's the kind of diversity and camaraderie that we also bring to the table that shows just how unique we are, but very much under the same umbrella. So, hey, Cal, how many members are there, and how are they selected?
I get to thinking I don't really know how many there are on the board, because some leave and more come in. And how it was selected, I really couldn't say, because I got a call from Dick Trotta that said it was recommended by my DA and the terminal manager, and asked me if I would commit to 3 years on the board, and to bring these ideas. Well, the first meeting I wasn't quite sure what to expect, but yeah, Lisa helped walk me through the first meeting and get me introduced to others, and since then it's become more of as I mentioned, more camaraderie going around, and getting to know each other and share with each other has been a great experience.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
I know that.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
It's spontaneous. I got to a point where with driving, I was pretty much a loner out here on the road. Get into the terminal, take my stuff home, come back, head out again. With this position, I've been forcing myself now to talk with other drivers, ask them about their needs, and so getting to know more of the drivers on the road that way also. So it's a positive for me in that aspect.
I think there's 9 members currently, and it's obviously one from each terminal was a priority, but that's only 5. So, and I think I'm not sure. Let's Cal, tell us again where you're at today.
Right now, I'm in my office in Cheyenne, Wyoming, at a truck stop.
I'm sure it's a nice, warm, sunny day in Wyoming in the early March too. And
the sun is up, but getting outside, it's not warm.
I bet,
It's in the 20s.
And Lisa, you're in the office in
Yeah, I'm in the office in Caldwell. I'm on home time right now.
Oh, good.
Oh, okay.
So, but we felt not only important to have folks from each terminal, but we also wanted a female driver, and then just I don't know whether you call them at-large members. By that, if you're on a board, there's members that are there for a specific reason, then there's others that are brought on, and they're usually referred to as at-large members, because they're were recommended in this case by their DA and terminal managers, so that we can get to 9. And we felt 9 was a good size group because it would get us various experiences. We've got we intentionally have some younger members and some older members and everything in between, because the needs are different, and the ways of looking at the industry are different. And and my position and the management role, we have to be prepared to work with all demographics within our industry, and and by having those demographics represented on our driver advisory board, we get the best advice we can.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's appropriate to mention that Cal certainly attracts a lot of attention. He's part of our military rap program as well. So I'm sure, being an outstanding member of the driver advisory board, he also gets the opportunity to attract attention with the military rep. You're representing the Coast Guard, right, Cal?
Do get a lot of attention with it. Trust me. I watched a driver a couple of nights ago struggle across snow and ice on the parking lot just to get close enough to take a snapshot of the truck, and turn around and struggle to get back to his truck.
Well, I'm glad he didn't fall.
But certainly it supplies plenty more opportunities to get more feedback for driver experiences on that he can bring to the board. Speaking of experience, Ken, how do you think the driver advisory board has factored into Leonard's winning awards like best fleets to drive for 2 years in a row?
Yes, that's great. And as this is being recorded, it'll be done before it airs. But as this being recorded, I'm preparing to leave tomorrow morning to go to the TCA meeting to receive that award later this weekend, or I guess Monday actually. But it certainly makes us proud to win that again. And the driver advisory board helps us, with a couple things. With that, first off, I think Kevin says it, best when he says, one of the reasons for the driver advisory board is to help us be a better company, so that drivers want to come to work for us. That it's recruiting is easy because there's a line. We're not there yet, but I think over the last 5 or 6 years of having this board, we've gotten better because we're listening. And I think it helps also like with the safety awards. It's not that the driver advisory board they have to be safe to be on it. That's one of the prerequisites. Let's have a exemplary safety record. But it gives us idea of how to be a better company, which attracts a better driver. So if we're hiring better drivers, generally they're going to be safer drivers. So one of the other awards we're receiving at the TCA meeting, Truckload Carriers this weekend, is the #1 safety award winner for our size category of 50 million to 99 million. And Katie Griffin will be in Florida, to receive that award Tuesday night, which is, also something that I'm very proud of. But, the driver advisory board gives us the tools, the ideas, the feedback to put these programs in place that make us successful, which lead to the awards. So I think that's the simplest way to put it.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we also have our Future Hall of Famer program, which is one of the reasons why we are winning awards like best fleets to drive for, that I think our producer is going to play for us.
Good afternoon, everybody. Ed Fosdick, Leonards Express. I'm the Director of Recruiting, and today we are handing out our February Future Hall of Famer. Our drivers that are Future Hall of Famers here, they are drivers that have been here a relatively short period of time, but they've just done an amazing job, just exemplifies everything we want in a driver. So in February 2022, the gentleman that has that award coming to him is Patrick Upchurch.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate all you do.
My name is Patrick Upchurch. I've been driving for Leonards for 6 months. I think there's one of the top companies, like out of all the trucking companies. They look out for their drivers. They make sure they're comfortable on the road, off the road. Basically, just come to Leonards. Like, just come. Just come. You're going to have a wonderful experience.
Oh, he made me smile how excited he was of being at Leonard, and we certainly have plenty of those moments. One of the things a driver advisory board typically focus on is testing and providing feedback on new technologies for the fleet. Perhaps Cal and Lisa, what has this process been like for you?
Go ahead, Cal.
Well, I've got a. Go ahead, Lisa, if you got something to
No,
say.
go ahead.
Okay. It's been wonderful experience too, because we're able to bring comments from other drivers about the equipment. There'll be a suggestion I bring at the next meeting from a driver, but we're able to bring comments from other drivers to the board and bring it to their attention, things that are concerns, and find that the good points and the bad points, and what they like and what they don't like. So we're able to bring them to the board and give them a good feedback from the actual drivers.
Yeah, absolutely. One of the things I sitting on the driver advisory board as well is learning the other technologies like the solar paneled trailers, the greener aspects of what Leonard's is trying to do to be a just a responsible corporate company to cleaner air. Obviously, the trucking industry can tend to get a bad rap for being polluting the air, and certainly here at Leonard's, we get to to hear about and even participate in programs that say we're trying to do our part in that arena. Ken, speaking of that, what is the most important lessons you've learned from the driver advisory board?
Well, boy, the most important one, that would be tough to narrow it down. I think, there's been several places, that we've, learned from. First off, we find out what's important. We put a dog park in Farmington, and we're putting dog parks in, at all our terminals. I think we all knew that, a lot of our drivers travel with their four-legged companions. I think Lisa does. I don't know if Cal does, but
I have a cat.
yeah,
My cat travels.
yeah, don't take the cat to the dog park. That's a bad idea.
No, we're not going to do that. She's too mean.
But having a safe place for them, they're cooped up in the truck just like our drivers are. So having a little bit of time to get out, stretch the leg, be off leash. I think that was more important than we realized. Some of the times, with technology, you mentioned technology. The salesman for these products come in and they do a great job of convincing someone in our leadership that this is a technology we ought to try, and it looks good, it makes sense, but the people that have to use it need to be able to embrace it as well. And having the driver advisory board, we can bounce some ideas. Like right now we're doing a field test on some products to potentially change our ELD platform. And I don't believe Cal or Lisa are involved in that pilot, but we do have driver advisory board members that are involved in that pilot, and as well as others. And we'll get feedback. And and what's nice about that is I think regardless of what the technology is, someone may not be as comfortable coming in and talking to myself or Katie Griffin or Bill O'Hanlon or whoever's running the pilot within the office. But they'll be comfortable talking to Cal, or they'll be comfortable talking to Lisa because they're a peer and they feel, that they would understand and, see what they're going through. And potentially they're going through it themselves if they're testing that same product out. So, we get some honest feedback, and, something that's all nice and shiny and makes perfect sense to me, find out later on that it doesn't work at all in the real world. And we get that feedback quicker. Some of the other things, that, we've worked on is, safety things. We started adding an extra handle on our trailers, for people to use getting in and out of trailers. I think everyone's heard me talk about safety and how important it is, to us at Leonard's, and, not just on the road safety, but, safety in our shops, safety, in our parking lots, safety at our warehouses, people getting in and out of trailers. So we've had some ideas brought to us, to improve our specifications on our trucks and our trailers over the years. That most of them don't cost a lot. Most of them are almost cost nothing when you look at the total cost of a tractor trailer these days. But it's the little things that I think matter the most, and and that's one of the things I would say has come out of the driver advisory board is we're not afraid to spend a little time talking about the little things. Because when you spend 8-10 hours a day driving, maybe more, up to 11 hours legally, and then your off duty time is spent in a sleeper, or maybe you get a couple hours to go into a truck stop. The little things do matter, and saving $20 a truck, when the truck costs six figures, to begin with, it doesn't make sense, if it takes away from the enjoyment, of our drivers. So that's the type of feedback we get, and that's the type of feedback that's important, to make a difference between an average trucking company and a great trucking company. And we want to be a great trucking company, not just to our customers, but more importantly to all our employees, especially our drivers.
Yeah, absolutely, and certainly the driver advisory board is a representative of the ear of our driving force, and you get a good boots on the ground picture there. Cal and Lisa, what's the most important lessons you've learned as members of the driver advisory board? I mean, and how has it improved your life as a professional driver?
Which one wants to go first?
Lisa, you go first.
Yeah.
Okay. For me, seeing that the owners give a dang, that they listen to us, they input in it, and the other drivers that are there, I think has been vital. I mean, I was impressed from day one walking in there, and every time I go, I get more impressed.
Absolutely. Yeah. Good point.
I'll echo that same sentiment and add that I've noticed over the meetings that when an idea is brought up, it's large or small, it doesn't matter. It's definitely considered. I have seen with each comment that comes in, there's three categories. One is definitely not. We're not doing that. We've discussed it before. But oftentimes they come back and say, well, we're going to have to consider that. And the third one I've also seen changes made immediately from the ideas that are given. So, it doesn't matter what ideas come up, whether you figure it's large or small, everything is going to be considered. And the results are going to be shown from that. But it's been a great experience working with some wonderful people, and like Lisa says, they definitely do care. They care for the drivers. They care to hear from the drivers through us as a board member. They definitely want to hear what we have to say, and it's been a great experience that way.
I want to add here that first off, thank you to both of you for taking the time to be on our driver advisory board. You've been wonderful members, and but we do have 3-year limits, and I think that's important. Because first off, I think if you're on it too long, any board, I think this is a case you can kind of get a little bit burned out from it. The time and the energy, and so on. But it's also nice to have new input, from new perspectives, and we have it staggered so it's 3 every year. So anybody listening to this, if you're interested in getting involved, certainly mention it to your driver advocate, and if there's an opening that comes up, they can share it with the folks. Like I think it starts with Dick Trotta from the driver advocates and terminal directors. To get your name thrown in the hat. We'd love to have a list of people, available and interested, when the openings come up. We just filled two openings, and I believe we got another one coming up later this year. So, it's 3 years sounds like a long time, and 9 members, out of 700 plus overall trucks on the road. It doesn't seem like a lot, but it is, because it goes fast, and the 3 years goes fast, and we need people to step up and take their place. So, but again, thank you to both of you for your participation. We certainly appreciate it. Well, that's a wrap for this edition of Leading the Way at Leonards. If you have questions or feedback, we'd love to hear from you at leadingtheway@leonardsexpress.com. And please don't forget to like, follow, and subscribe to the podcast. I'm your co-host, Ken Johnson, and on behalf of Dwayne, Knepper, until the next time, keep on trucking.
We're running 18 wheels down that open highway. We drive on through the night so you can have it your way. We're the angels of the highway, bringing hope across this land. Success through service, it's all part of the plan. We settle for nothing less. We're Leonards Express.